Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Let me make sure you all can hear me. And yep, I can see that. You guys can hear me. That's great. All right, let me get the slides going here. Um, well, let me see who's here. I can do that in the meantime. And by the way, okay. Hello, Black Pearl, Elaine Parker, Marshar, Church Nelly, Veronica Quick, MOC. What is that? Okay. I can't. Oh, I can read that. Marine Denian? Yes. Or is it Denian? Denian. Huh. Okay. And Olivia Harris, Janice Goodrich. Hello, Fancy Patty, Kits and Door. Okay. Judy Regold. Hello, Judy. And Sylvia Fielder, Diane Hawkins, Donna Reese, Church Nelly. Who else? Annie Bennett, Myra V, Marcia Ware, Gentile lady, not gentle, but genteel. There's a difference. Um, hello, Dee Dee, C Mac, Joan Commonwealther. Okay, this ain't good. How come that is not opening? All right. Please try again later. We don't have later. We got to get this open now. Oh, man. Not good. Let me try that one more time. Without the slides, there is no show. Okay, guys, I know what I'm going to have to do. So bear with me for just a second here. You guys know the drill by now. When I can't get those slides to open, we got to go to another. Oh, there it is. It did open. Very good. I thought I was going to have to go to another screen. All right, so there it is. It is Black History Month in the United Kingdom. Yes, October is their Black History Month. Ours is in February, for some reason, the shortest month of the year in the United States, but in the UK, it is October, month of Halloween. Either way, I don't think that's good. I think whether it's the shortest end of the stick or the scariest month of the year. You see what I mean? See how they do us? That's what we're talking about. Society that has marginalized people of color. Hello, Elaine Parker. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. Sunday, October the 2nd. I am exhausted from September. I am still recovering from September. My frayed nerves are still recovering from September. It's like I have PTSD from September. Just September of 2022 is going to be one of those times that I will gladly, hopefully, forget about. But I don't think I will, especially if it means that I have to look past some of the things that happened to the Sussexes. I'll never want to forget that. Hello, Ma Jones. Okay, so anyway, for you guys from the United Kingdom, happy um, Black History Month. Okay, take that away. So I have a bit to cover. I am going to get started. Let me just make sure I get my last set of slides up before I start moving. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, and we're off. And we're off. Oh, by the way, someone sent me PayPal this morning, even before I started. So, thank you, someone. I won't say the initials. I'm sorry, I won't say the name just in case you use a different name on social media. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But anyway, thank you, JR. Greatly appreciated. JR. All right. Thank you, JR. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Moving on. So let's call the endless scrutiny of the Duchess of Sussex what it is: racism. It is all predicated on racism. Some people say it's xenophobia or anti Americanism. Um, I think when you're dealing with an American, you take the entire package. You don't pick and choose the parts that you like. And so that strong work ethic that seems to be in opposition to the firm, having an opinion that seems to go against the grain of the firm, and in general, just being a person of color, first and foremost, seems to go against everything that is expected at the firm. And she was othered from day one. There was an attempt to derail the wedding, right? And in spite of everything, the wedding still took place, right? And she still managed to carry and conduct herself with her head up high, as evident by the photo here, where she slayed them. Can I be petty? Where she absolutely slayed them at the Queen's funeral. She really gave them the what for. Elegant, serene, majestic, if you will. That's our Duchess. So we need to call it what it is. And that's, of course, I believe that was the Vogue magazine from the September issue. So was it the September issue or was that just on their webpage? I think it was on their website. Ah, I think it was on their website. Okay. Because the September issue, that is the big fashion issue, and I think that would have gone out already. So how do I know these things? Thank you, Susie Q. I do my best. All right. So moving on. Thank you, whomever. I don't know where this started from, but somehow, somewhere, somebody threw these on the social media, right? This one. Take it in, drink it up, go on. Yep, you left a few drops. And then there's this: the light, the glow, the play of shadows, the composition. Who else could take a simple polo shirt and turn it into something extraordinary? The Duchess of Sussex, that's who. Just a simple polo shirt, and it has turned into something exceptional. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know if I'm guessing that someone actually sketched these or were they computer whatever, but still absolutely gorgeous. So once again, there's Harry. You can really see Diana's eyes there. You can really see Diana's eyes. And of course, Meghan, Princess Meghan. I mean, I just find myself looking at these all day long. Let me, you know what? I got to get another screen open so I can see what you guys are seeing. Almost forgot about that. All right, let me see here. Let me get this other screen open. I just don't get it. I don't get any of this stuff. I just don't get it. I don't get any of this stuff. Okay, I'm not going to start that again, you guys, but all right. Okay, so that's enough of those. Now, yesterday, as I said, before we get to the whole thing about the rallies yesterday, let me get this out the way. I just want to mention this because my memories of James Earl Carter, Jimmy Carter's time in the White House, they started coming back to me. And then Michael Beschloff, who is a presidential historian, posted this image of President Carter had solar panels installed at the White House. These were later laughed at, derided, and removed by officials of the Reagan administration. And I thought about that and I got so angry because I remember when Ronald Wilson Reagan decided that having solar panels on the White House was just some big joke. And they laughed and they made fun of Jimmy Carter in the press, and then they took him down. If this would have continued, how much further in solar technology would we be if it wasn't for Ronald Reagan, if it wasn't for the Gipper? And when I thought of, oh my God, I get so angry. I remember when they took those down, it was like this big joke. And just like that orange menace, Ronald Reagan systematically, along with Nancy, that's how he would say it, Nancy, along with Nancy, they deliberately took everything away from the White House, everything away from the presidency that would remind you of Jimmy Carter, including the solar panels on the White House. Oh man. So I got triggered. I said, I remember that. So, Jimmy Carter, you know how they love to go on and on and on about how this guy, how Charles III was so right about the environment, so right about this, and so right about that. Well, you know what? It's not like we didn't have insight in the White House. It's just that someone else decided to systematically remove as much of the good as they could by the time they got there. So just what a ridiculous thing to do. Solar technology would have been advanced so much further had that not happened. Had the next administration followed through on it. So happy birthday again, Jimmy Carter. 98 years and going made him the longest, oldest surviving president in history. Um, and unlike the person that followed him into the White House, he's still quite viable. He is still productive. So that other one kind of disappeared into history, but not Jimmy Carter. He is just as relevant today as he was then. So thank you, Jimmy Carter. All right, that's off my chest. Oh, and one last thing. Arrived in Japan. I would, as I said, my memories began to flood back about Reagan. I don't know how it happened, but somehow Reagan was given $2 million, $2 million, and we're talking about 1989 money. He was given $2 million to go and do a speech over in Japan. Services rendered. I don't know what they were paying him for. And also, a lot of you guys still remember in the days when um, we were so afraid that Ronald Reagan was going to start World War III or some type of nuclear holocaust. And there's an old photo from protesters in Washington. Well, the sign says the bombing begins in 5 minutes. Well, even though his hyperbolic attitude about so many things to do with well, there was this big arm race with the Soviet Union, and Ronald Reagan thought that if we just spend more money and create more bombs, that somehow we would defeat the enemy. So, in spite of everybody else's rejection of that notion, he soldiered on and had this big arm race with the Soviet Union, creating even more lethal weapons of mass destruction. And so he was doing a radio show, right? He was doing a radio show, and somehow he thought it was funny when he thought he was on the mic was off. He was actually still on a hot mic, and he said, "Let the bombing begin in 5 minutes." And people heard that and they were just like, what? Now, he thought it was a big joke, but I remember that. So I went and I Googled looking for something that I could share about that. And this is what I found. And notice that even then, people remember yesterday I said Ronald Wilson Reagan 666. Notice the sign Ronald Wilson Reagan, the three sixes. That's what people were afraid of. They literally thought that he was going to end the world. So, oh man, I tell you, all of those memories came flooding back. It was just like it was the 80s again. God, am I old? Oh, Nash Singby, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. Okay, you guys, I think I am done with Reagan. All right, moving forward here, and another bit of sleight of hand. And remember, when it comes to sleight of hand, you really have to consider whose hand is being slighted because it is impossible to sleight Charles's hands. There are nothing slight about his hands. Charles III's hands are so big he could smack somebody across the street. I mean, his hands are so huge, they look like flotation devices. It looks like he's walking around with catcher's mitts. That's how big his hands are. Anyway, so I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, sleight of hand. And another bit of sleight of hand, the palace and the press, the headlines have been changed from Liz Truss orders King Charles to she advised King Charles to stay away from the COP27. How quick that call goes out. How quick did that call go out? Take a look at this. Look. So on the left side, new Liz Truss has told Charles not to attend the COP27 next month. The king, a lifetime environmentalist, planned to be at the summit in Egypt to give a keynote speech and attend engagements. In contrast, the queen gave an address to COP26 last year. Well, over here it says Liz Truss advised King Charles to stay away from COP27 climate summit. Charles had intended to deliver speech. I mean, he had his speech all rolled up and in his pocket and everything. He made sure he didn't take one of those exploding pins with him and all that kind of stuff. And Liz Truss put the brakes on that one. She was like, stay home. And trust me, Charles would have gone otherwise. He was looking forward to being there, and she just told him no, and he had to follow. I think that is just extraordinary. What is all of this signing documents and going to all the realms and declaring himself king and people confirming his rule and all that kind of stuff, only for someone who has only been there for what, 3 weeks? How long has she been prime minister? 3 weeks? And she just told him no. Well, she did him a favor because had he gone, he would have completely embarrassed himself. This guy is a joke. He's an embarrassment. It was better. It was better for him that he didn't go because if he goes, people are going to call him out. This is the information age. This is the age of social media. A lot of people gather their news from social media. The legacy media is all but dead. So I noticed the Sunday Times have now changed to Liz Truss has advised Charles to stay away. This is what it said earlier. Liz Truss orders King Charles to stay away from COP27 climate summit. You know? And I love that photo because in that photo, it just kind of looks like she's standing her ground. Like, whatever happens, she's ready for it. She's smiling, he's smiling, but the truth is, there's a real power play going on right there. There's a power dynamic. And Liz Truss is about as crazy as a road lizard. There is something about her, even though I feel bad about the economy being, tossed around the way that it has. But I hope she sticks around. I pray that she sticks around. I hope they can fix whatever shortcomings is going on with the economy, because first and foremost, I am all about protecting working class people. But it's just something about this that I'm getting a kick out of. So, if you guys have seen that movie, Charles III, where he has this adversarial relationship with Parliament, and in particular with the Prime Minister, where Charles III refuses to sign something into law because suddenly, just like Charles I, he started getting this weird idea that he has a divine right of kings. So, in spite of that divine right of kings, she told him, "Sit your behind down," and he was like, "Where?" So, you guys, I think this is going to be fun. Monarchy costs Britain £345 million a year, enough to pay 13,000 nurses, enough to pay for 13,000 nurses. There's a nursing shortage in the United Kingdom, but there's £345 million for the royal family. Now, out of that $345 million, how much of that is paying for the upkeep of the Sussex household? None of it. The Sussexes have become completely self sustained, and they have cut themselves off financially from that aging relic of an institution known as the British monarchy. Now, um, they say that the monarchy costs the average subject, not a citizen, but subject of Charles III, what is it, 60 pence a year, something like that? Is it six? No, not 60 pence. Is it $60 a year? I forgot what the price is, but anyway, it's just a small, tidy sum of money that every person in the United Kingdom has to pay for the upkeep of the monarchy. But that is wrong. That is wrong, because they say is, oh, what is it? The sovereign grant is about 117 million pounds now. Anyway, they got a raise. They got a raise, but other people are marching in the street trying to get a living wage. But the royal family got a wage. How do they get to 345 million? Very simple: security. The security infrastructure, as well as other things that kind of go into a pile of numbers. That is where that comes from. But the upkeep is more than 100 million pounds a year. And so here, this is why I said it. Oh, it's thank you, Elaine Parker. £1 50 pence a year. So for Americans, just say about a buck and a half. Seeing that the pound is so close to the dollar now, just say a buck and a half. So it costs about a buck and a half for the upkeep of the royal family per person in the United Kingdom. So this is what happened last time at COP26. 8 gas guzzling vehicles took the Queen of England and her entourage from Holyrood Palace to the Scottish Parliament, and so she could lecture Scots on the importance of what? The COP26. In other words, the amount of pollution in the environment, the impact of fossil fuels on the environment, and the need to go green. She then left on a helicopter back to Balmoral. Okay, I don't have a problem with that, because after all, that is the sovereign. That was the sovereign. That was the head of state. You know what I just noticed? Why did they use a tennis ball in that crown? See that? notice the crown on that illustration. Isn't that a tennis ball? Anyway, I love this drawing from Brighty, but so that was something that I saved at the time when she was at the Parliament that day. I still can't get over the fact they got a tennis ball on that crown. I only just noticed that for the first time, and those spiky earrings and the spiky jewelry. I don't know what that's about. It's some kind of kink that maybe we weren't aware of. But anyway, not the most flattering image of Her Majesty, but it's funny. So Ron Cully says words fail me. All right, so I don't mind. That's the sovereign. I think that for heads of state, we should make an exception. But the problem is you have Charles, the next in line, and then William, the third in line. Okay. Even Charles, I will make exceptions for him. Although there's a lot of places he could easily drive to, but he often uses a helicopter. But William, who at the time was third in line for the throne, why is it for years he was addicted to his helicopter? And all right, but then let me stop there too. But you still got the prime minister using a lot of gas guzzling vehicles. So there are several layers of people for a country of 66 million people. Uh I believe the population of California is what, 50 million people? Anyway, just picture California and Britain almost neck and neck in terms of wealth and population. If California was a state, it would be maybe the fifth largest economy in the world. California is like full of money. They call it the Golden State because money, opportunity, all those things you will find in California. That's why so many people go there, because that is still a place where you can definitely come up. Connie Balmer! Thank you, Connie Balmer, for the super sticker. Happy Sunday to you, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. So, yeah, um, Ethan's husband is here. Hey, Ethan's husband, Joan Garcia. Congratulations. What did I miss? Dorothy Ross says, I am 78 years old, invested for years for my old age, and I pay taxes. Dorothy Ross, I hope all of this stuff that's going on right now is not having a bad effect on your retirement. I really pray that it's not. Oh, Miranda Rios, I see it now. You have the 10 months membership, is it? You know, I think I saw that go by on the other screen. This is why I open up two screens, because it will not show up. Most times it won't show up on the. Anyway, I do see it. 10 months Royal Sussex membership. These people literally have no sense of self-awareness. I see your comment there too. And that is true. Their sense of self-awareness is in the toilet. They just don't have it. So, but they have courtiers that makes them feel brilliant, right? Those courtiers, those are like the people that they're in contact with the most. And as long as the courtiers think they're smart, they think they're smart. It's like they say, I think and therefore I am, or whatever that saying is. All right, so yesterday, Petal had done a brilliant job of showing all of the country houses and various royal estates and stuff. So I decided to unpack my photo album with, of course, upper left, starting from left to right, top to bottom. You got the how many hundreds of rooms do they have at the Windsor Castle? Sandringham House. You have the Buckingham Palace. You have Holyrood. You have Balmoral. And then, of course, there's that big spread that they have in Northern Ireland. I mean, these people are okay. Take a look at that. Current homes of the Cambridges funded by UK taxpayers. You got that huge apartment, the largest at Kensington Palace. I think it was Princess Margaret's old apartment. You have the Anmore Hall. Now, when you look at Anmore Hall, that is the one with the orange roof. In the front, you see this very wide, stately facade. But notice there's a whole wing in the back and more buildings behind it. That is the one that the taxpayers paid for. By the way, they had to evict a family to get that place. I'll tell you about that later. Balmoral Estate, they have another place there that they never show photos of. And then the Adelaide Cottage, only to find out that after all of that taxpayer money, now they're moving into Windsor Castle. How many more homes can the slim down royals justify? Now, I think, was that Richard? Yeah, Richard Kay wrote that. At the time of an exploding cost of living crisis affecting working families, I can't see behind the watermark, up and down the country, having three royal residents. Well, Richard Kay, I'm sorry, four royal residents looks something clumsy, insensitive, writes Richard Kay. Why he wrote that, I don't know. I think this was more of a warning to the institution rather than a rebuke. It is a warning to them. People are watching, stupid. That's what I believe this was. It was a warning. It wasn't so much he was criticizing them, but it was just him letting them know, if you intend to survive, you better know that people are asking questions, meaning Sussex Squad. Prince Williams pushes a population control in Africa, but take a look at that. 3 children, 4 homes, a fleet of Range Rovers, and a private helicopter, just like everybody else at Georgia's school. Black Queen says with a super chat, Baron, the only Black history in the UK have is Black Plague from the 1300s, or maybe they consider Black people as the Black Plague. They used us. Now they want us they want to discard us. Just saying. Well, there has been many attempts to whitewash the history. And recently, I watched a documentary about Argentina. Argentina has very little, if any, Black history accounts. And it is pretty consistent that so many countries whose roots actually involved Blacks, Africans, African slaves, those countries tend to try to write those things out of history. So there has been a long history of people from Africa in the United Kingdom. And there is that famous, is it a tapestry that shows a Black knight? I think it's a tapestry that shows a Black nobleman or a knight. So the sensibilities about people of color have evolved over the years. But when things really went south for people of African descent is when they needed to make Africans animals that needed to be civilized in order to justify the slave trade. That was the worst of it. That was when one of the biggest exports from Europe was no longer textiles and rifles and stuff like that. It was literally racism. And so it isn't any wonder that there's this huge attempt to erase Black people from the history of Britain. If you go to some of those country houses and you look through their accounts, you may find that hidden in those homes, there are so many accounts of Blacks in Britain, some of which who had some prominent roles in the community, and so much of that history is hidden. And unfortunately, because the families that own these homes they still keep that information, but it's just very rare that we have access to it. And so the story of Belle was actually hiding in plain sight for a long time. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised we ever heard anything about it because of that. So yeah, it there's history there, but it's just a matter of people actually having access to it. And you know, the more people talk about reparations, I think the more that they're going to suppress that history. But that's just my opinion about it. But thank you for your comment, and also thank you so much for your super sticker and watching Royal Sussex, and also for being a moderator. Don't forget that. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, you guys, I haven't looked at many of your comments, and I will very soon. So, Kate spent $1.5 million turning historic home into a wag palace with an orange roof after Queen kicks out tenant on Sandringham Estate. This is what I was talking about right here. And that was from 2014. There was a tenant that was in Anmore Hall, and they, I don't even know what a wag palace is. Elaine. Elaine Parker. What is a wag palace? Anyway, a working something. Okay, whatever. But anyway, they kicked that person out of the house so that the Cambridges could move in. They did not want to go, but they had to go because they were making way. And so, if you guys remember, I believe it was Robert Jobson who said that they promised that that was going to be a long-term home for the Cambridges. All right, now this story is from 2014. For the 8 years that they've occupied that house, how many periods of time were they actually even living in the house? Because don't forget, they still had Kensington Palace. And of course, that mysterious place up in Balmoral, and of course the Adelaide Cottage now, and then of course moving to the Windsor Castle, and don't forget vacation, vacation, vacation. So you have all those things going on, and price of the house plus that. How much was the driveway? Didn't they put in like a $2 million driveway? Wasn't there like a big driveway expense and other renovations? I would say that the taxpayers did not exactly get their money's worth. Again, people are watching. And so there you have it. These are two different slides that I pushed together. But let's see, $598 million. That's how much the Kensington Palace is valued at. Anyway, William and Kate Middleton have a secret third home, which fans know. And that's obviously the one that's up there in Balmoral. So the one on upper left, and then there's the Adelaide Cottage, and there is Anmer Hall and Kensington Palace. Those are the four places. There's another one, but the one, it's very rare to find that photo of the place in Scotland. Somehow they keep that one hidden. Just like, look at how many years we didn't know the Queen had a log cabin at Balmoral. I cannot wrap my brain around the Queen having a cabin. It reminds me of Marie Antoinette's farm at the at the Palace of Versailles, where she would dress as a peasant girl. Now, I'm not saying that the Queen dressed as a peasant girl or a lumberjack, but it's just hard to believe that the Queen felt a need to get away to Scotland and then to get away to Balmoral, only to get away to a log cabin. It's like one of those Russian dolls. How many layers are there? Will and Kate saving the planet. Yeah, they are. Do you want your grandchildren to pay for their holidays, cars, and helicopters? Obviously. Now, that jet on the right side, and of course, you can see the fleet of Range Rovers. That is how they got over to see a football match one day, which was a lot of trouble to go through just to watch your team lose. Our planet has become more fragile. The pressing need to protect and restore our planet has never been more urgent. Prince William. Can you believe that Prince William said that? Prince William said that. Prince William had the nerves to say that our planet is more fragile. Our planet is fragile, but yet there he is piling onto a private jet when it's not even necessary to do so. There, it is so easy for them to just book a flight along with everybody else, especially at the time when this photo was taken. Um, he wasn't even the next in line. He was the second in line, was second or third, second in line. So there was no need for this, but he did it anyway because he could, because he's William. Okay, just taking a sip of water there. Iris Demonia says, "Wag" and British is a British term meant girl. Oh, wife or girlfriend, or is it wife and girlfriend? Really? I didn't know. Okay, thank you. Interesting. And thank you for the super sticker and watching Royal Sussex. All right, comments. Maria says, Baron, they try to justify as if whether it's racism, sexism, Americanism, it isn't at all. I mean, isn't it all bad and shouldn't happen? I just don't get it. Um, well, I think as they've been saying that Meghan and of course Harry have been used as scapegoats. I mean, with everything going on, like I'm not even going to get into the thing about the earrings. I just my mental health won't even touch that one. But obviously you have mass demonstrations, which we'll talk about later, but you have these mass demonstrations happening in three of the realms plotting to leave the union. And that was the big front page was earrings. If we were to talk, well, see, there I go. Let me stop. Let me stop because I was about to get worked up. I took in a deep breath and I was about to go there, but I have to protect my mental health. Mary H says, but yet they find fault with Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan's home. And Petal pointed out yesterday that they don't mention the price as often. As a matter of fact, a lot of the royal reporters they barely ever talk about Montecito, especially when you consider how the Cambridges live. I love the way they try to portray themselves as just a middle class family. While so many people are using food banks, they are trying to portray themselves as a middle class family. And look at Kate, just to mess with your head, to show you how mean Kate is, just to mess with people's head. She has access to anything and everything she wants. And she probably sit there with a whole plate of food in front of her and just nibble at it, just to show people how privileged she is. She's so privileged that she can have a plate of food and barely ever touch it. But then again, you don't really have much of an appetite when nobody has seen you for 30, 60 to 90 days. I'm just saying. Oh man, they are the past, not the future. Abolish the monarchy. These are just little things I grabbed off the interweb. Abolish the monarchy. William Kate making an effort to save the planet. Look at the size of that helicopter. And I tell you guys, aviation fuel is filthy. Do you know that? Aviation fuel is filthy. And the same fuel that is used for one of those jets, that is the same fuel that they use for the helicopters. The helicopters actually have a jet engine. That's why they work so well, is because they use the same technology that goes into a jet. And jet engines can be very reliable, which is why they feel very safe riding the helicopters all the time. So that is the same fuel that is used to navigate with those helicopters, and it is filthy. It is filthy. If you've ever actually smelled it, it just smells like something is burning, right? Filthy, filthy fuel. And yet, this is how they get around most days: is that they go outside and hop in a helicopter. So, remember this: aircrafty airline bosses flew an empty 123 miles to Norfolk to pick up William and Kate because they wanted Flybe branding shown off for royal publicity stunt. Well, notice they put most of the responsibility on Flybe instead of the fact that they asked themselves for that jet so that they could try to up, or should I say, try to disparage the Sussexes. They were trying to make Harry and Meghan look bad. So they were working in tandem with the media, criticized the Sussexes for taking a private jet twice a year, as opposed to the Cambridges, who routinely fly helicopters and private jets every place they go, several times a year. An $8 million luxury helicopter, which he managed to get from his grandmother, but criticized the Sussexes for taking a private jet a couple times a year. Nice. Remember when he took one of those private flights all the way to the Middle East to plant a tree? He literally went there to plant a tree and to give his condolences for something. I don't know what it was. And then, of course, he may have gotten one of those gift bags like they give Prince Charles. But anyway, at the time, Prince Charles. But he went all the way there to plant a couple of trees and to stand there and talk to that guy. They got the photos that they wanted, and then he was excused to go back home. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. Charity investment. Remember that one? Prince William Charity Invest with bank tied to dirty fuels. And that story was put out mostly by Bloomberg. Bloomberg. That's where that story really came from. It came from Bloomberg, the same person that he's supposed to go and meet so that he can get money for his foundation or for that earthworm or whatever. Now, I love that illustration on the left side there. NHS collapsing, transport system broken, 6,500, what is that? Annual energy bill? 6,500 pound annual energy bill, right? And appalling customer service, house building frozen, and of course, 18% inflation. So, all of those things is what greets people that are fighting desperately to get to the UK, as well as, well, you can see that pipe. Who thinks of stuff like this? You can see that pipe spewing sewage, raw sewage into the waterways there. Britain is broken and nobody can be bothered to do anything about it. Politicians live in fear of vested interests that, and it cuts off there. But anyway, I just saved it for the illustration. And so, to help the consumer, cheaper foods after EU exit, consumers boast as experts now say that prices will come down. Prices will come down. Now, that is an old story, obviously. I can't exactly see the date there, but that story is from 2016. So that was one of the big selling points of the Brexit, is that the prices of food would come down. They lied. They lied to people. That's what's so twisted about that, is that so much of Brexit was predicated on a lie. And then if you look at the next one, it says, don't throw away moldy foods you can eat. Won't do you any harm. So they put this story out this year. And in both cases, that's the Express. That is the Express. How crazy is that? First, the Express is towing the party line by saying that the Brexit is going to lower food prices. And just to prove it, they showing a chocolate bar. Who doesn't like chocolate? They're showing somebody out in the farm harvesting the grain or whatever, only for them to come back and say, you know what? You know what? You know what? Come to think of it, just make sure you don't throw anything away. Here, love, don't throw anything away. Save it. It won't hurt you. You couldn't make this up. And in both cases, it's the express. This is why I save stuff like that. This is why I save it. Because if you try to tell somebody, they wouldn't believe you. They wouldn't believe you. Their answer to food shortages is just eat the moldy food. It won't hurt you. It's just a little mold. Woo! You just can't make that stuff up. That's their answer to high prices and food shortages is eat the old food. It won't hurt you. Meanwhile, Prince William has a private helicopter flights, private jets, multiple huge homes, and a personal train. Climate change hypocrite. By the way, they didn't want William to go to the COP27 either. Again, same thing. So those two billboards came out at the time of the COP26. Liz Truss just saved the royal family. She saved them. She didn't hurt them. She helped them. Because if those two hypocrites would have gone to Egypt, either one of them or both, if they would have gone to Egypt, they would have looked like a fool. They would have looked like a couple of fools. Carbon footprints. They talk about it, but they're not doing anything about it. That's what's so insane about this. No packed trains for us. Will and Kate commute home in £8 million helicopter and you pay the bill. But don't forget, Prince William, in order to look like he has authority and resolve, he blasts Bezos. William blasts Bezos because of those frequent flights into space with money that he earned, however he did it, but money he earned as a working person who had an idea, not someone who starts, let's say, Earthflop and takes $12 million, awards $5 million over time to the winners, right? That means he's got to bring in more money because they don't have that money in the bank. But the bank they do have it in is invested in dirty fuels. Meanwhile, $7 million was spent to promote Earthflop. $7 million was spent to promote Earthflop. Like, for instance, what about that night of about 3 or 4 stars? Remember that event, Night of 100 Stars, that big Hollywood event? Well, Earthflop was a night of about 3 or 4 stars. Anyway, at the night of about 3 or 4 stars, not 100 stars, but 3 or 4 stars, at that event called it, well, I nicknamed it Night of about 3 or 4 stars. You had, let me see, was it Judi Dench? I saw, oh, what's her name? The one that was in Howard Inn, and a couple of other people, maybe. But anyway, that night of about 3 or 4 stars, it was such a big fat nothing burger that probably cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what happens? William shows up cosplaying a Mitchum Roll-On bottle. Kate wears her little Duchess on the Prairie dress, and pretty much nobody showed up. The public, those hordes of people that they had all this security to hold back. No, you can't go in there. There's a big event going on. There's about 3 or 4 stars and Will and Kate. You step back. That didn't even happen. It wasn't necessary because, as you can see, there's just a family of 4 people back there. A little baby in the pram. Don't know what's going on. Like Like the baby is looking like, where is that bottle of deodorant going? And then the rest of the family, they're just back there looking, trying to figure out what is this event that nobody heard of, right? And so they have the gates up to hold back the crowds in case they push through to try to get into this event. You couldn't pay people to go, but you couldn't pay people to go, let alone do you have to try to hold back the public. I mean, they want you to think. I'm sure they had to try to find the right camera angle to make it look like there was a bunch of people queuing, but no, there's a bunch of photographers, there's a bunch of security people, and a family of four. That's the only crowd outside of this event was the security, the press, and a family of four that were on their way to Waitrose to try to figure out what they were going to eat for dinner. And they just so happened to come upon this earth flop, and that was it. So this is where that $7 million went. And it was supposed to be such a buzz about this event. People barely noticed it. They tried to make a big deal out of it in the media, but it was a big fat nothing burger. The only way that you could possibly get people to read anything about it is to start off with Harry and Meghan. If they could have inserted Harry and Meghan into the story in any kind of way, then it would have actually taken notice by a lot of people, but that didn't happen. So it was a big earth flop. So royal family flew enough air miles to get them to the moon and back in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years. Again, Liz Truss saved the monarchy. And there's William on his way to that game with, of course, a fleet of Range Rovers because he was just that important. He needed that fleet of Range Rovers. And of course, my favorite thing, of course, right, is right there. Notice how Kate ducked that head down. Every time she leaves the house, she expects that she's headed to the helicopter. So as soon as she walk out the door, she just ducks that head down. She tucks that head down because it's like either she's in the house or she's on the helicopter. There really is no in between. So as soon as she leaves the house, her head just naturally ducks down because she thinks it's helicopter because she thinks it's helicopter time. So it's amazing that that is her natural reaction. But if you travel to every place by helicopter, you do that too. You walk out the door and just duck your head down so you could avoid the blades. But when she takes the kids to school, I wonder if they use the helicopter. I'm serious. I wonder if the helicopter is involved with a trip to school. Just asking for a friend. But the side effect is the helicopter hair. See that? Because she rides the helicopter so much, she can't get her hair to lay down. Sometimes her hair is like Medusa because she's always walking toward that helicopter. So that's, if you've been wondering why does it look like her hair won't lay down, it's because of the helicopter. That's why. She has helicopter hair. She has that windblown hair. And, and as I think about it, when I think about the velocity of the wind and everything, that probably explains that. I don't know. Maybe it's the wind that's altering her looks. I don't know. But yeah, so that is what happens when you constantly ride the helicopter. You get the helicopter hair. And then, of course, there's this one where she went by helicopter to smile and grin and grin and grin and move a few empty boxes. She had to go. It's important for this charity to have one of the royals show up, and especially if they can get Kite. If they can get Kite, if we can just get Kite, if Kate will show up, that will help the charity, right? Wrong. Plus, those boxes ain't got nothing in it. She's wearing stilettos and some mid-century Laura Ashley dress. But look at how she got there. Look at how she got there. She took a helicopter. I told you, it's always a helicopter. It wasn't even that far away. That's why this became a story, is because she went by helicopter. It's amazing that while so many people are hurting, this is what they're doing. Baron William was spared embarrassment at the UN presenting Earth Flop when he had to attend the Queen's funeral. He sent New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. Oh well, that was smart. Well, yeah, he did dodge one there that time. He did, because it would have just been embarrassing. But don't forget, in 2017, William, the big bully, launched this online anti-bullying plan, right? But he's the big bully. And you can see there that a couple of squatties have called him out. What about what about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? They have been bullied and bashed by the British press. You both say you are here for mental well being. What are you both going to do about it? The answer, nothing. After you actually contribute to more of the bullying, more likely, after you both either implicitly or directly have been doing on social media to your own sister in law, Meghan, you would both be wise to shut up. How about rather concentrating on learning Welsh history, culture, and language, since you shamelessly admitted your ignorance? Boy, I tell you, some of the people on the social media, when they call you out, they call you out. And speaking of which, let's finally get to it. So it's amazing. It's amazing how quiet the media is about this. Little or no mention whatsoever about this turning point in history. And don't doubt that it is, because it is. That you could have a big organized protest like this. I guess winter cannot come fast enough, but you can have an organized protest like this where so many people are out there with their flags pouring into the streets. And the ultimate insult is, well, I won't say it's an insult, because this is the most important street in Edinburgh, and that is the Royal Mile. They are literally marching down the Royal Mile and other places around Edinburgh so that they could protest, so that they can declare their independence. They want another referendum, and it cannot come too fast. The Brexit is one of the things that really pushed this, is the Brexit. Scotland was doing very well with Brexit because, it gave them some kind of leverage. It gave them a little leverage in the UK, whereas they usually feel as though they're getting the short end of the stick from the Parliament in England. Well, they do have their own Parliament, but they don't just have complete autonomy over everything. They don't have enough agency to be considered a full-fledged country because they're part of that union. And so the referendum was pretty close last time, but I think this time, given Brexit, I don't think that the UK as we know it would exist anymore. I think it would go away because they didn't want to leave the European Union. They didn't want to, but because of Brexit, it was forced upon them. So Brexit didn't really help the situation. It really hurt the situation. And so there's the Royal Mile. You can see it. Those very sheer, tall structures in the old town of Scotland, very impressive. I mean, some of those places are very, very old. And you can see the people out there. You didn't get this much for the Queen. Which, by the way, because they want to leave the union, because they want to leave the United Kingdom, Charles would still be king. They will still have a king, but it just won't be the same connection as before. Just like they weren't planning to get rid of the queen. So Charles would probably stay as king, but the two countries won't be united under the union anymore. So there's the possibility. I think more likely that Charles would still be king, but it's just they won't be. The union was formed after, what was it, James the First took the throne. When James the First took the throne, that is when he ruled over both countries. But the union was formed after that, not because he took the throne. It was, it happened after that. I forget how long ago, but the union itself is not as old as England is. It's not 1,000 years old. It's what, more like 300 years old. So, and there's another angle. There's St. Giles Cathedral. You probably recognize that from that service that they had for the Queen there. One of her several dozen funerals that took place. It was right there at the Giles Cathedral. And there's the people pouring into the streets. I mean, you got thousands of people. Just imagine that street open where the funeral procession could go from Holyrood on the Royal Mile to St. Giles, and all of that area is just flooded with people right now. From there, all the way down to the Scottish Parliament, all the way down to the Holyrood Castle. They want their right to decide. You see right there, the sign says, I believe, our right to decide. They want a right to decide whether or not they stay in the union. So eventually, they're going to have to give them a chance to vote by referendum again. And I think they should just get it over with and let it happen, because it's going to happen. It is going to happen. There's no way that the will of the people are going to be ignored like that. So one way or the other, they're going to have their ability to protest. And then there's Wales. There's the people of Wales. Same thing. Now they're trying to convince Wales that their economy could not survive leaving the union. But there are people who think otherwise. There are people who believe otherwise. Will be just fine, because at least they can get back into the European Union. And that's not to say that everybody in Wales wants to be a part of the European Union, or even everybody in Scotland, but at least they would have an opportunity to go back to something that, was beneficial to both the European Union and to the United Kingdom. And I forgot which building that is, but I believe that is in Wales. And I think it's that one that I saw on the tour that has that Portland white stone on it. More independence, a cry for freedom. So now here's the one that really surprised people. Full house here in Dublin, preparing for new and united Ireland. A united Ireland. So Ireland doesn't actually have a flag. The unofficial flag of Ireland includes the hand, the star, and the crown. So the star obviously represents the monarchy. The hand, that represents I believe it's the O'Neill family, and they were the first. It is by legend, they say that the first people to reach Ireland, they were in such a race to get there so that they could say they was the first. Now, mind you, this is history from a long time ago. And of course, as the story goes, that one of the people was so determined to be the first to reach Ireland that he literally cut off his hand so that he could throw it or whatever, so he could be the first one there. If you believe that somebody severed their own hand to be the first there. Now that red cross is not the cross of St. George, like on the English flag. That is supposed to be a cross for, I guess, a family or whatever associated with Ireland. And also, the background color of the flag was not originally white; it was gold or yellow, but somebody changed it. And so, again, it's not the official flag of Ireland, but it is used as a flag in place of not really having. Well, I'm sorry, for Northern Ireland. Again, I'm sorry, that is not the official flag of Northern Ireland. It is one that is used in place of Northern Ireland not having an official flag. For Northern Ireland, their official flag is supposed to be the Union Jack, but instead they use the red cross, the hand, the star, and the crown. The flag at the top, that is the flag of Ireland. The tricolored flag, green, white, and orange, and the white is supposed to stand for peace. So the top flag, again, if I haven't mixed you up, the top flag is Ireland, the bottom flag is Northern Ireland. And so hopefully all of Ireland will very soon be united under one flag. So this is Charles's trouble. This is what's keeping Charles up at night. You got Scotland, Wales, and a soon to be united Ireland. Independent Scotland, independent Wales, independent Ireland, united Ireland. A united Ireland. That is what keeps them up at night. Three big protests that the press has said very little about. This was huge. Look at the stadium there. Look at all those people inside the stadium. This is huge. Make no mistake, this is huge. And it's only the start. And Prince Charles has, I'm sorry, King Charles III has only been on the throne for about 10 minutes. You know you're off to a bad start when they hand you an exploding pen. As Scotland has the oil rigs and also even, what is that, technology center, they can afford to break away from England. Well, thank you, Sylvia. I didn't know. So that is it North Sea oil? That's for Scotland. It seems like Scotland would have more money if that's the case. Sorry, I was thirsty. People of Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. Oh, let me just do that. People of Scotland, Wales, and Ireland were waiting for Queen to pass before openly pushing for independence from England. Pam Porter, I've been saying that. I've been hearing it for years. That most of these places were waiting for the transition of Lizzie. Most of these places were waiting. Valerie says there was a huge demonstration in London, and there will be another demonstration to rejoice the EU on Saturday, the 22nd of October. I had no idea. I had no idea. Well, you guys, people are not waiting, are they? Isn't Scotland Yard in Scotland? Sorry, American here. No, I believe Scotland Yard is. I believe their headquarters is right there on the Thames, right there in central London. I believe that's where their headquarters is. I don't know why they call it Scotland Yard, but I think yet again that was a clever way to try to keep the Union contained. Scotland Yard, by Buckingham Palace, they have Canada Gate. They have a lot of clever ways to keep people humored so that they can keep the Union together. And you guys, I have no delusions that someday the United States may fracture again. This is something that can happen anywhere. So I don't want anybody to assume that I'm singling out the United Kingdom as the only place where there's some type of recessionist movement. That is something that can happen anywhere. And a bad economy is the fastest way to break up a country. People, as long as people have resources, sometimes that's enough. But when you start taking money out of people's pocket, then dissension will grow. And having the economy fractured the way it is like fuel for the fire. Charles is hoping Will and Kate will help tame the protest. Sorry, Chuck forgot Will and Kate last tour in Lori, you're right about that. If Charles thinks that William and Kate can help, just think about that Caribbean tour. Uh-huh. You're right about that. That's one thing one has to consider is that Caribbean tour. But anyway, they're coming. Wow, I just realized I messed that up. The they're coming should be up higher, but anyway, I think you can see what I was trying to do there, but I made the lettering so big it pushed they're coming out of the field. All right, so uh Dorothy Ross says Scotland Yard is the headquarters of the English police. Go explain that, huh? Right? That's what I always thought. I always knew it was in London, but I just thought it was some kind of way to help keep Scotland as part of the Union, just like the Scottish guards that they have for the Queen. And it's like if you keep that sense of importance, then that will prevent people from actually thinking about leaving the Union. Scotland Yard is indeed in the city of London. See, I've been a lifelong Anglophile. I get it. Will and Kate lost half the Commonwealth, and it looks like Charles is going to lose the United Kingdom. The United in the Kingdom. Laverta, yes, it appears that way. I promise you guys, I knew that this was coming, but I am just astounded at how fast things are moving. I am amazed at how fast things are moving. What type of hindrance, what type of immovable object, what in the world could have prevented all of this stuff from finally happening? There must have been some force, some oppressive force that was like raining down on the nation that prevented that prevented them from finally having their voices. I just don't know what it was, but there was something. Something had to have been uh some I don't know what I'm looking for, but something big must have really kept the masses at bay all this time, and now all of a sudden people have found their voice. So when I think of what it is, I will let you guys know, but it was something. But yeah, you cannot contain this anymore. It is here. The people have spoken, and let me see. And it's happening. It is happening, and that you can't unring a bell. It is here, and it is here to stay. And we are going to witness major changes in our time. But I think around the world that there's something happening. But if I can only think of what it was that has helped. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's what's been holding them back. I was just thinking to myself, what has been suppressing this rebellion? That's it. That's what's been holding the country together all these years. I knew it was something, you guys, but I struggled to find it. And now I think I get it. Oh man, whenever I'm stalling like that, you guys probably know I'm up to something, right? But I knew it was just something that would not let modernity in. Philip! I knew there was something that was holding back modernity, and I finally figured it out. The Queen. Woo! Oh my God, this is too much fun. Okay. Bye, Betty. No, no, bye. All right, so there you have it. Now, yes, there were protests in England. In England, you had migrants and refugees welcome here. I love that one. Support the strikes. Yes, support the strikes so that people can get a decent living wage. Oh yeah, that's outside of the what station is that? That's where you take the train to Paris. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember the name of that station. Do we need a Prince of Wales? Campaign to abolish the monarchy. And of course, something in Welsh there. I don't know what that says. It's no accident that the median white family wealth is 147,000 and the median black family wealth is 36,000. Just to make sure that we understand that the haves and the have-nots is on both sides of the ocean. In the 1940s and to 50s, the FHA gave white people home loans, but denied black people those 10,000 K homes and are now worth 500,000. In our lifetime, the US government robbed every black family of $500,000. So, just so you understand, let me bring this back home to you. Here in the United States, if the average black family after World War II had access to the FHA loans that they gave to white families, especially veterans of war, if every black family would have had access to that money, just think how much more wealth there would be in the black community today. You see there? These things do not happen in a bubble. It can happen anywhere. White adults are more than twice as likely as black and Latino households to get a sizable financial help from parents or elders. I guess so. They got $500,000, don't they? A new joint NPR poll finds that has profound intergenerational effect. And remember that word, generational wealth. So these are tens of thousands of black families across the United States, not the UK, the United States, that have been denied generational wealth, intergenerational wealth, wealth that is passed on from one generation to the next. And so um, when you think about it, just think of any black man that you've known, or woman for that matter, who participated or fought in the Second World War, and how many of them may have never owned property. And one of the reasons why, because God knows they worked, but one of the reasons why is because in the 40s and the 50s, the FHA grants, loans that were given to white veterans of war was not given to blacks. And I'm going to tell you why that happened. This is why it's so important to vote. Because if you lived in a state or a community where that money was handed out by the local government would actually withhold that money from black people. That's how that happened. So, this is why it's always good to participate in election day so that way you don't have an excuse to complain. That's why election day is important. Now, back in those days, when it came to government and when it came to the ability to receive that money, because we didn't have much of a voice, counties where black people may have been the majority, but they didn't have access to the government. And that happened as recently as Ferguson, Missouri, a town that is predominantly black, but at the time had a predominantly white government. Now, that predominantly white government, they had a couple of, I don't want to use the T word, but they had a couple of us in the city council there. But while they were in that city council, day after day, blacks were more likely to be charged with traffic violations. Blacks were less likely to walk out of that courtroom without paying a huge sum of money. There was even a local reporter in Ferguson who went to traffic court and noticed that he was the only white person there. And they lived like that in Ferguson for years. For years. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there is plenty room for us to take to the streets, just like you can see people over in the UK taking to the streets. Now, we done missed out on $500,000 per family, but we don't have to keep missing out on things. We can make our voices heard. And that's what they're doing right now, is they're making their voices heard. Imagine that. Imagine what $500,000 could do for your family right now, especially if there's anybody who has, I can think of several people in my family that were drafted and fought in the Second World War. And I tell you what, I can't think of any of them that got that $10,000 loan. Not a one. Okay. Here's something good. There is oh, look at me. Kataji Brown Jackson. I was doing so good until I had to say that. There she is for the first time, photographed with the other women on the Supreme Court. Yes, and those are all women. Trust me when I say this. I am pretty sure that those are all women. I know, but those are all women. Stop looking. Behave yourselves. Those are all women. Woo! Okay, you guys, I was being serious for quite a few minutes there. You know, I had to get that out of my system. But trust me when I say it, those are all ladies up there. All right, I'm done. I don't want to ruin the mood, but I'm done. I just wanted to say those are all ladies up there. Promise. But yeah, so that is a very historic moment, and I shouldn't be sitting up here having too much fun with that. Uh, but I can't help myself. Oh, well, give me some credit. I've been on a roll, and I got through all that until I got to this picture. But I promise you, those are all ladies. Okay, they're all women. I ain't gonna say they're all ladies, but they're all women of the Supreme Court. Oh man. So meanwhile, back at the Bat Cave, I'm gonna take some of your comments very soon before I get in trouble. Let me see. Let me do this. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, I found it. So let's celebrate this moment the only way I know how. And that, of course, is with song. Okay, there we go.
We've come a long way
to Justice Brown Jackson.
We came in to celebrate
Justice Brown Jackson.
We came from Harriet and Sojourner
to Justice Brown Jackson.
Ida B. Wells and Dr. King.
Justice Brown Jackson.
Shirley Chisholm.
Justice Brown Jackson.
Barbara Jordan and Maxine Waters.
Justice Brown Jackson.
We came here to celebrate
Justice Brown Jackson.
A black woman on the Supreme Court.
Justice Brown Jackson.
A beautiful, intelligent woman.
Justice Brown Jackson.
Justice on the Supreme Court.
On the Supreme Court. I love that. Justice Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court. Yes. Yes. Oh man, you gotta love Jennifer Lewis. You gotta love her. Okay. So, one of these things aren't quite like the other. One of these things are just not the same. One of these things are not like the other. Can you name it in a game? All right. So, what do I mean by that? Well, if you grew up during that era when they had those teachable moments on children television, one of these things aren't quite like the other. One of these things are just not the same. One of these things are not like the other. Can you name it in a game? So, one of these people, not things, but people, is actually Quasi Quantang. One of them is him, but the rest of them ain't. So, racism row erupts as the Mirror publishes the wrong image of Quasi Quantang, but you can pick him out of the gallery of famous black people. All right, so which one is him? Which one is him? Okay, I think that they ain't need to put Diane Abbott in there. We know Diane Abbott when we see her, right? Now the other ones, okay, I know that's Mr. T, right? Okay, let me work on this. The other ones I don't know, except for one that I know for sure is Quasi Quertang. So you got half of them for sure I know is not him. So yes, of course it is. It's that middle top. It is the middle top. That is where this row comes from. That isn't me, Quertang tells Mirror over wrong image. That isn't me. So on the right is what they were trying to pass off as him, but on the left, that's the actual guy that is going to take the fall for wrecking the British economy. That's the guy right there. He had to tweet to them, hello, Daily Mirror. I know you think we all look alike, but trust me when I tell you this, we don't. And then, of course, my new favorite thing is, oh my gosh, what is her name? I can't. Wait. Nobody tell me. It is. I'm gonna have to cheat. I am so gonna have to cheat because I have just had a brain freeze and I cannot remember this girl's name. Anyway, I adore her for this moment that we had on Loose Women. Let me find her. Nobody help me. I said nobody help me. I got this. Okay, I don't got it. Come on, baby boomers, help me out with this. Lord have mercy. Okay, you guys are helpful. Stacey Solomon, that's it. It just came to me mostly because thank you, Karen. You helped me out. Oh, and Kids Indoor and Elaine Parker, thank you. Stacey Solomon. My new favorite thing, of course, is her phrase that was used on Loose Women. So if you haven't heard it, this is what happened. She was on Loose Women. They were talking about the Fab Four, and she let out with the epic.
I just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
Yeah. I don't get why we're so obsessed with these humans that are exactly the same. Like, it could be us four sitting there. I just don't get it.
But are you talking about what you mean as royals or as, like, Kim Kardashian? Because for me, they're becoming celebrities.
Well, yeah, to me, that's all they are.
The Queen
is their celebrity.
For me, is brilliant.
I love the Queen.
No, for duty, responsibility.
She's always worked really hard, hasn't
I would
she?
work hard if the whole country paid for me to have like 12 houses and work really hard.
They don't pay for all of the houses, but
just a few.
So Stacey Solomon was on a reality show, and when they booked her on Loose Women, obviously they booked her to try to appeal to a certain demography that was not available to them. Because after all, when you look at Loose Women and some of these other shows, all you see are a bunch of old white women, essentially, just a bunch of old white women. You rarely see a person of color. And if there is a person of color, they don't talk much unless it's a panelist. In other words, unless it's Dr. Shola, you don't hear much from the woman of color. It is usually the older white women who are fully establishment. And it's a shame because when The View started, they had brought in a young girl about the same age as Stacey Solomon now. And she was supposed, you guys remember her, she was the Greek American girl. And she was supposed to be the voice of the youth on the show. But having a voice of the youth doesn't work on these shows because they really don't want to hear what you have to say. They're not interested in what you have to say, even if you are trying to explain things from a younger point of view. They don't want to know that. We will take your word, Baron. Oh, thank you, Sharon Davis. What did I say? Okay. I just saw that one. The buck dancer needs to rescue himself from voting on the of his wife. I don't know what that means. All right. Sheila James. Hello, Sheila James. I haven't said hi to you in a while. YouTube is censoring my comments. Some don't post, especially when telling true facts. You guys, I explained that before. There are some comments that they find potentially something. And so unless I go in and manually okay them, they get stuck. Now, I could like take that off, but if I do that, then there will be a deluge of weird comments. So I leave it in place. But yeah, the automatic intelligence or artificial intelligence actually will take some comments away. Now, if you use a lot of emojis, sometimes those are going to another category called spam. And there is a spam category where some of your comments won't get through because, as you guys know, there are some people who like to go from channel to channel and spread hate and lies or whatever message. And so if it thinks that you're a spammer, it may also block your message. So sometimes it's just that one word that you may have used in the proper context, but the automatic intelligence just doesn't know the difference and it triggers something that will block your comments. So don't be discouraged. Don't despair. It happens to everybody. Trust me. It can happen to anyone. Church Nelly, a lot of her comments were blocked a long time ago because of the emojis. But since Church Nelly is a moderator, now those comments usually go through. But Church Nelly used to get blocked all the time. And there were a few other people that all the time they were blocked. So it's nothing personal, Sheila James. Just I'm sorry, Sheila James. Just please be mindful that some of those words, even if you use them in the best context, could trigger something. So yeah, that is what happens. But otherwise, just like you, I have to say,
I just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean?
I just don't get it. I'm like you. I just don't get it. I don't get any of these things. Yes, thank you. Debbie Mentonopoulos was not equipped to deal with those older women. These let me see. This lady is not equipped to deal with older women who talk over her. They need a strong Black woman to stand up for the Sussexes. Oh, if we could only have Dr. Shola on one of these shows, but they don't want what Dr. Shola has. And plus, anytime somebody brings truth, like the last time that Denise Welch was she on Loose Women? And the other woman, I won't forget ever that other woman was literally yanking on her arm to try to stop her from telling the truth. To try to stop her from telling the truth. It happens. Black Queen. Oh, that's for someone else. All right. Oh, that's for someone else. Okay, I just don't get it either. The hoopla for a family that badly treats women who are smarter than the head of the firm, a family who has a lot of wealth but still lives off the poor people. Don't get it. Don't get it. You know, I was thinking about that too. Why is it the royal family never donates money? Do you guys remember the Queen made a rare donation to Ukraine? A rare, was it Ukraine or Afghanistan? I believe it was Ukraine. And they said a rare donation from the Queen, a rare donation from probably the wealthiest woman, if not the wealthiest person in all of Britain at the time, a rare donation. And that was only, and I do mean only, because of the Sussexes making a donation. That's the only reason why that happened, is not to be upstaged by Harry and Meghan. Stacey Solomon says British people shouldn't be forced to give their money to the royal family. Now, this was an old show, but because of where we are right now, Stacey Solomon has become viral for her comment about
just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
Yeah.
that has gone viral because of the mood of the people in the United Kingdom right now. And don't forget, you guys, there's a lot of people within England that are English born that do not want an unelected head of state. They don't want it. But here's the good news. You can now visit the Queen's grave for just 26.50 pence or 28.50 on Saturdays. That's right. You can visit the sovereign as she lies deep in the depths of her grave if you only spend £26 50 pence. I hate to make it sound like a used car, but it's true. If you're willing to spend the money, you can go to the St. George Cathedral, St. George Chapel, and visit the Queen's grave for only 26.50 pence. Okay, Lydia, to be fair, and you know I love to be fair, it is part of the tour of Windsor Castle. However, I do believe that they should give some of those tickets away to people who would love to see this place but can't afford it. Now, I've made a visit to Windsor Castle. I visited the St. George Chapel. I've seen this myself. At the time, of course, the Queen and Philip were not there. Philip was still at Wood Farm. Philip was still crisscrossing the estate. Remember when Philip's car became airborne? Do you guys remember that? That was when Philip was living at Wood Farm. Philip was trying to cross that road. Now, if things would have gone terribly wrong, I probably would have had a chance to visit Philip that day too. But because Philip survived crossing the road, I didn't get a chance to visit him at the St. George Chapel. But that is eventually where he ended up. But yes, it's true. Philip was trying to cross the road there at the Windsor estate, and somehow his car became airborne and he smashed into that other woman's car, and his vehicle rolled over, and it was said that he was not wearing a seatbelt. And finally, the Queen had to have the conversation with him. Philip, give me your license. And Philip finally relinquished his license at age, what was it, 90, 95, something like that. But yeah, Philip flipped that car at the Windsor estate. Okay, let me see. No, thank you. I am not interested in visiting her grave. She ain't my mama. Yeah. Gracie is only, and it is rock down bottom price of only 26.50 pence or 28.50 pence on Saturdays. This is weird. Welsh soldier who walked alongside Queen's coffin at funeral found dead at barracks. Don't know what happened, but Jack Burnell Williams, 18, had a key role in the Queen's funeral. And for whatever reason, they found him unresponsive, as they say. I don't know. I was just throwing that out there. You guys could sort it out for yourself. I have nothing to add to it, but that happened. I'm going to imagine that he was one of the people in the bearskin hats walking on the periphery during the Queen's funeral. Man charged over heckling Prince Andrew as he followed coffin. Now, this is kind of interesting. Uh-oh. All right. So there you have it. Man charged over heckling of Prince Andrew as he followed coffin. Not the man, but Prince Andrew. So when Prince Andrew was going down the Royal Mile, you may remember as he walked down the Royal Mile, there was someone who yelled, "Andrew, you're a sick old man." Well, the person who yelled, "Andrew, you're a sick old man," was arrested. Hey, V, how are you today? Andrew was not arrested. As a matter of fact, Andrew paid out, well, his mama paid out 12 million pounds for something that he never did to somebody he never met. But the person who reminded the world that he's a sick old man, he got arrested. He got arrested for saying what everybody else was thinking. "Andrew, you're a sick old man." He was arrested. But it turns out the two men that pulled him to the ground so that he would stop yelling, they were arrested too. Yes, this just came in today. Two men charged over alleged assault on Prince Andrew's heckler. So you're not confused. Andrew, you're a sick old man. He was arrested that day. The two men who yanked him by his collar to prevent him from yelling any further, they were arrested for assaulting the people that assaulting the person who heckled Andrew. But guess who was not arrested? Andrew, the person who actually has been accused of doing something, is the only one in this scenario that did not go to jail. That's right. The sick old man avoided jail. He did not go to jail, but the person who heckled him and the person who stopped the young man from heckling him has gone to jail. But him, nothing. Nothing. This is the same Andrew who used the opportunity of his father's death when he spotted those cameras out the corner of his eye. He said, "Uh-oh, here's my opportunity. Let me go over there and say something to the public so I could recover from this humiliation." That was when he pushed aside a nun, jumped over a baby pram, rolled across the hood of the state Bentley, and did a cartwheel into a split and landed right in front of the camera so that he could thank the public for all of their well wishes for his father. That Andrew. He's the only one who didn't go to jail, but everybody else, not so lucky. So they arrested the heckler. And by the way, it didn't end there. Even though they snatched him and threw him to the ground, the heckler was still able to yell loud enough so that you can hear him all the way at Cardiff Castle. He was still able to yell loud enough so that he could be heard all the way at the Island of Man and Jersey Island. I mean, he yelled loud enough you could hear him in Malta. He said, "Disgusting!" As they hauled him away, he was able to squeeze out, "Disgusting!" I mean, he yelled it so loud. Radio Free Europe picked up the signal. That's how loud he yelled. So he may have gone to jail. They may have dragged him down to the ground. And unfortunately, he did get arrested. But then now we find out that the two people who tried to help Andrew also got arrested. Footage showed a 22-year-old man shouting at the Duke of York on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh on the 12th of September. He has since been charged with breach of peace. Two men, both 34, have now been charged after allegedly dragging the heckler to the ground. A police Scotland Yard spokesman said, two men, both aged 34, have been arrested and charged in connection with assault following an incident on the Royal Mile around 2:50 p.m. on Monday, the 12th, September 22. A report will be sent for the consideration of the prosecutor fiscal, whatever that is, prosecutor fiscal. Never heard of that. What is that? Procurator? Oh, well, it must be one of them English things. But whatever it is, that is what happened. The sick old man was able to walk free, or should I say waddle free, because, he done picked up a few pounds. So the sick old man was able to waddle free. He was able to waddle free, and he even went on to pray. Remember, he was praying when they was looking at them flowers. That was when that rogue, chubby hand of his touched somebody on the bottom that we ain't supposed to talk about. But that is the same chubby hand that was yelling "Toodles" when he was in New York, not realizing that he was being photographed by whoever photographed him. But he was at his friend's house in New York, because remember, the sick old man couldn't say goodbye over the phone. It's something about those royal princes. One of them was dumb enough to fly all the way to the Middle East to plant a tree. The other one was dumb enough to fly all the way to New York and stay in somebody's house who has been accused of just the worst things to say goodbye. And remember now, these people are here on this earth by divine intervention. These princes of the realm are actually placed on this earth as a anointed, and everything, placed on this earth, and they're smarter than all of us, and they have blue blood, and they got chubby hands, and they always seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and sometimes they have to pay off people for being in the wrong place at the wrong time for doing something that they never did to somebody that they never met. That is what happens. I guess you could just say they're lucky. But as they have released this week the death certificate, now they said the cause of death was old age, but I have found through my various sources, and I do have many, an actual version of the death certificate. There's the one that they gave to the press, and then there's the one that I managed to find that says the cause of death was old age and a 12 million pound settlement. So, it's just between us here at Royal Sussex. You don't have to go and tell anybody that I said that, but, it's probably wise if you keep it to yourself. But that was the cause of death, was old age and a 12 million pound settlement for something that was never done to somebody he never met. So, if I haven't pushed the envelope too much, remember, you guys, that the royal family is very much into their image, and so I don't think we say Clarence House anymore. Buckingham Palace. Oh yeah, there it is. Buckingham Palace aides have requested the media use these official portraits for the new king and queen. Long may they soak up the sorrow of their people. To my British friends, please don't despair. They're completely disposable. They are completely disposable. So, just so you guys know that there are official portraits of the new king and queen consort. And there they are. So, and of course, one of the reasons why I love Scotland is because the Scottish will tell you where to get off. They will give you the what for. And just as I'm closing today, I want to share this with you. The quality is not the best, but you will be able to hear it just the same. And let me find that for you. But yes, the LBC radio, sometimes there are just like amazing people that call in, and thank God for them, because they will say what other people are thinking. They will drop the truth bombs that seem to make some of the hosts' face turn red, or in some cases, they just lose all the color in their face. But either way, their truth bombs will come out. So here's a sample of, let me see, it's still buffering.
Clive, reaction to that news. Good morning.
Hi, Nick.
Hello, sir.
I think it's frankly hilarious.
What is hilarious about?
Uh-oh, it is buffering. It is buffering. Let me see.
For a nation.
Right.
But what's hilarious about it, in my opinion, and in the opinion of most of the people in Scotland, I would say, is the fact that we've still got a royal family in the year 2022. Right. Because we have no place in a modern civilized society where you're afforded massive...
Excuse me, sir. Well, no, because you started by saying you speak for most of the people of Scotland. I need you to back that up somehow.
Yeah, well, I'm a working-class Scotsman. Right. Everybody I know in Scotland...
Okay, so for everyone you know... Okay, now hold on, sir. Let's just clarify. You speak on behalf of most of the people you know, not most of Scotland. So on you go.
Yeah. The majority of people I know couldn't care less if the monarchy existed or didn't exist.
Okay.
I think the fact that we're talking about having a slimmed down monarchy, are we meant to be happy about this, Nick? You know, when people can't heat their houses, people are sending their kids to school hungry, you know?
I don't think you would
be... It makes my blood boil, Nick.
Okay.
When you hear people like yourself bullying Meghan Markle, that's what you're doing, because she's a black woman or mixed race.
How did you get how did you get from a conversation about a possible slimmed down coronation to your suggestion that I've been bullying Meghan Markle? How did you get to that?
Right-wing gammon media personalities have been bullying Meghan Markle since the word go. Look at it during the Queen's period of mourning. Every time she held Harry's hands, Jesus, man, it was unbelievable.
What did I say? Remind me, excuse me, that's quite a serious... Can you tell me what I said every time?
Positive to say about her or Harry.
What did I say, Nick? We're going off the point. Okay, so you don't want a royal family, clearly.
No.
What will you replace? What will you replace it with?
I'd replace it with an elected House of Lords.
An elected House of Lords? An
elected House of Lords. We don't need an elected head of state in 2022. We are quite capable of making our own decisions, the people of the UK. And I
would imagine you're probably not a fully signed up fan of Boris Johnson or Theresa May or David Cameron. And that's when this nation has made its decision. They should be in jail. I see.
Yeah, okay. For what they've done in this country. It's ruined the country. It's lit.
But hold on.
I love that. They should be in jail. Brexit has ruined the country. I know it was hard to understand because of that very pronounced Scottish accent. And as I said many times, the closer you get to Glasgow, the less you may understand. But if you listen close enough, you will get it. However, as he said, you bullied Meghan Markle from day one. And so of course, their first defense is, what did I say? How did I do it? Never mind that. You know what you did. Most working class people don't have time to sit up and keep an ongoing account of your bullying, but you know what you did. And it is almost like a team sport where you have an entire sector of the population known as the press that seem to speak in one voice, like a monolith. They speak in one voice. And when they are for something, they're for it. And when they're against something or someone, they are against them. So never mind the particulars, but the whole world has seen how the Duchess of Sussex has been bullied by the British media. So, enough of all the, well, what did I say? It's not what you said, it's the fact you said it in the first place. We all know what's been said. So, anyway, again, I admire the people of Scotland for being so strong in their conviction. And for those who have cited the abuse of the Duchess of Sussex or for Harry and Meghan, all I can say is thank you for that. Yes, Lorna Murray, the truth does hurt, and yet they persist. Okay, so I'm almost done, you guys. Got a couple of more slides. Now, this is quite ominous right here. Investigator who revealed that person, I don't want to say his name, for that, what he did, don't want to say that either. Anyway, there is someone else who this person say he's talking to the police about. However, this person is untouchable and may only be named when he dies. But let me tell you this. That scandal that has plagued that family, that scandal, which I do believe more than just 12 million pounds can be attributed to this certificate. That family has a lot going on. Now, there's only one person in all of the realms that we know is completely untouchable. And I will leave it at that. There's only one person that we know is completely untouchable. And while as much as I don't dislike that person. I think that person is capable of a lot of good. The person ain't done a lot of good lately, but they're capable of it. Anyway, that person who is so untouchable, I tell you what, you reap what you sow. Karma is a mother, etc., etc., and they're in for a very rough time. Now, I don't know if that's the person that they're speaking of here. I'm just saying that's the only person that I know that is untouchable. And then there's Lewis Hamilton, Singapore Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes team fined £22,000 over nose ring stud. So his nose stud, he says that his doctor advised him to keep it because if he removes it, it will actually cause infection. Don't ask me why, but it is said that it may cause infection if he removes it. So he needs to keep it in for the time being. He realized that it was going against whatever, but it seems like such a small thing to receive a fine, but fine him they did. So it is said that they have singled him out for whatever reason. I can't think of what that is, but it doesn't matter how big and famous you are, whether you're Oprah Winfrey standing outside of a shop and they won't open the door because they assume that you, a billionaire, have no money, or whether you're Lewis Hamilton, who is, the top of your game and a global phenomenon in the world of racing, there seems to be a common thread that causes these offenses to people of color. And I don't know if we know what that is just yet. Racism. I don't know if we know what that is yet. Racism. But whatever it is, whatever that unseen hand, that it's almost like a centristical force. It's almost like a centristical force. That same invisible force that hides one of your socks when you put them in the dryer is that same centristical force that seems to get you fined 22,000 pounds for a nose ring. So so what could I say? If you can hear me in New Zealand, disgusting. That's what it is. It's disgusting. So you have to say it loud enough for them to hear it in New Zealand. And lastly, this little factoid I never realized, but it has nothing to do with the royal family. Well, not directly. United States of America in General Congress Assembly. When in the what is that? The courts of human events, it becomes whatever it is. But anyway, the point is, I did not know that across the Air Force One, and that is the original John F. Kennedy Air Force One, blazoned on the fuselage, they have United States of America. Now, I tell you, whatever I may think about some people in this country, I love seeing United States of America on the side of Air Force One, even when that big, fat, chubby orange one was in the White House. I just stopped looking for a while. But I love seeing United States of America. Well, apparently, one of the documents created for the Constitution, they printed several documents for the Constitution and other federal papers. Well, you can see right there, John F. Kennedy obviously saw this font that was used for one of those documents, and that is the font that is used on the side of Air Force One. Even today, that very same font. I love that. And it always just looks amazing in big letters to see that across the Air Force One. And fast forward to the 2000s, and who knew that a future royal would actually fly on one of those planes? There it is, United States of America. Now, this is actually a Boeing 707 quad jet, 4-engine quad jet. And this is a twin jet, Boeing 757, which has an extended range for the U.S. military purposes, but it is pretty much the same size plane, but they have several of them, and any of them are used by the president. Presidents of the United States will fly on any of these planes, depending on the size of the airport and how far it is. And so there's our Duchess standing right there next to, and even flying on one of those American presidential planes. There's a whole fleet of those aircraft, and those are the same colors that were handpicked by First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy when they came up with the color scheme of the baby blue, gold, and white. And they still use that today. So anyway, thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate you all being here. Happy Sunday to you. Thank you all so much for your generous donations. They are greatly appreciated. And I think Sherry Ware is, oh, she does have a list here. Thank you so much, Sherry. Yes, there's my list right there. Thank you. Thank you, Connie Balmer, Miranda Rios, and Black Queen, and Iris Demonia. Also, Miranda Rios, I'm sorry, not for your donation, but for your membership, which is still a donation. But thank you so much for that. Also, thank you, moderators. Let me put something up on the screen so that we're not just sitting here. I think I'll go back to where I started. We'll go back where we started from. Got to put something up there, though. Okay, there we go. Right there. Black History Month in the United Kingdom. So, if you find yourself in the United Kingdom, I only know of that one tour by Lawrence Westgaff in Liverpool, where they have a history of slavery tour. Actually, it focuses on the wealth that was generated by the slave trade. I've taken that tour myself. I will try to put something in the community tab so that you can find that tour if you are so inclined to take it. But yeah, let me see. Oh, I got to look at some of your comments before I go. Also, thank you to our two faves for those fabulous children. Thank you, Princess Diana, our Queen of Hearts, and our Queen of Everything, Doria, our Queen of Everything. And let's see. Oh, everybody's saying goodbye already. Very good. All right. Bye. Thank you, Donna Black. Thank you for being here. And thank you again, Sherry Ware. And remember that news that was found. Oh yeah, it found at that garage. I remember that. Yep, Bubba. That's the American black guy that races, right? I remember that. What happened to him? I haven't seen him a lot lately. Okay, I am an independent that will vote blue straight down the ticket. Thank you, Donna Black. I appreciate that. I always vote blue. Let me see. Who on earth would want to pay to see a dead body, queen or not? That is absolutely ludicrous. What will the unroyals think of next? Just try and get try to get even more money from the British. The greedy narcs. It is included with the tour of Windsor Castle, but you have to wonder how many people would take that tour, but for the fact that they are going to the Queen's grave. It is a weird notion, though. I think that they should make it more affordable, if not just plain give the tickets away, Just give the tickets away. Let me see. I wonder if Lewis wants to return his OBE, MBE, black, or whatever they gave him last year. Well, he really went to that ceremony for his mom. She was very proud to be there. So I don't know. That would be a tough position to be in, whatever your feelings are. If your mom wants to go to the castle, she wants to go to the castle or the palace or wherever it is. Let me see. Tats okay, but not piercings. Yeah, I haven't really found a tattoo that I'm crazy about. It would take me a lifetime to find a design that I would say, oh yes, I'll have that. Let me see. Oh, great. Let me see. Nick Farage, Ferrer, whatever his name is, LBC, never had a good word to say about Meghan. He always criticized her. The Scottish guy is right. And you bullied Meghan Markle from the start. Let me see. Baron, her name is Stacy. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Wow. How far back did I go? All right. Let me see. Diane Hawkins. I love her podcast. Oh, we'll catch you later. All right. Let me see. UK always bragging that they abolished slavery before the U.S. They forget to mention that most of the slave masters were descendants of the British Empire. Not to mention Jamaica independence was 1962. And let's not forget paying reparations all the way up to the year of 2015 for the slave owners, and no reparations or provisions therein for the enslaved people. No $10,000 loans for their homes either. Yeah. So that is something to consider. Okay. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. Perfect last word of the day. Everyone, let's continue to pray one more time. Everyone, let's continue to pray for the Sussexes and each other. Pray for the world. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. And with that, I am going to ginge us out of here. And yes, I'm looking forward to this week. I have a feeling that our Duchess is going to make an appearance somewhere. Hopefully soon she will make an appearance somewhere. All right, where are we here? Okay, cue Ginge Avenger. Thank you, everybody. Much love to you. Have a good day, and I will see you all tomorrow. All right, Ginger Avenger, go. Okay, you guys, that was it. Duchess of Success is on. The link is at the top of the chat. And nope, no 3 hours. Gotta put the cookies and nail polish away. Everyone. Oh man, that is so funny. But yes, no 3 hours today. I'm done. So please enjoy the rest of your day. And Yes, Diane Hawkins says hydrate, and now Archetype is #1 podcast worldwide. Really? Oh, and no, Archetype is #1 podcast worldwide. I thought you said it was, but yes, we're gonna push hard this Tuesday, you guys. Please share Archetype with anybody and everybody you can think of, so we can make sure Archetypes is #1. Okay, I am going to prepare lunch, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you, Sonia Johnson. Yes, a handsome virgin. Once upon a time, there was a handsome. Really? Is it 2.4? Oh my God. Let me see. Are you serious? 27.4, I mean. I didn't even know that. Let me see. I thought it was just kind of stuck. I was like, okay, well, this is going to slow down significantly, but now you got me curious. Let me see what's going on there. Look at there. Now, see, you're going to squeeze 3 hours out of me. I got to go. Duchess of Success is on. Oh, man. I'm so excited. Dun, 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 dun. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose. 27.4. Yeah, it's almost 27 and a half. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you, Heavenly Father, for shining your light on me. Okay, and I know this wouldn't have happened without you. Without you. My nights were long and blue until they sent me you without you. Oh man. Okay, bye y'all. See y'all. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know that. I had no idea. All right, bye, bye, bye-bye. Mwah. Bye. Laters.